Boys, week 2 is in the books, and it was a dandy. I got to hang out with my buddy Kyle all day, or at least for the early games. A lot of great games, some amazing finals. I don't know how many of you caught the Cleveland-New Orleans game, which ended up 21-18 for New Orleans. That game was stupid because the Cleveland kicker had a chance to tie it with, I think it was like 10 seconds left or 15 seconds left, missed the field goal. New Orleans takes the win. But he missed another kick in that game and a couple extra points. One of the quickest cuts. I bet he got cut the minute he walked right back to the sidelines after he missed that last kick. So that was ridiculous, to say the least. A couple other games that were just mind-boggling. Green Bay, Minnesota was amazing. Went to overtime. And it ended up a tie. So we have 2 weeks in, we already have 2 ties, which is unbelievable. And in that game, the Minnesota kicker missed 2 kicks. I think this week I've never seen so many missed kicks. I'm glad we don't have kickers in this league. I can tell you that much, because nothing's worse than owning a kicker and him costing you a fantasy week. So you should thank us for not having kickers in this league, because it's a headache. But yeah, Green Bay, Minnesota tied. Their Minnesota kicker missed 2 field goals in OT. Ridiculous. Kansas City, Pittsburgh was one game that I was heavily watching because I've got Big Ben. Kansas City went up early, 21-0, because apparently Patrick Mahomes is absolutely legit. He must be the best quarterback ever. I remember last year Alex Smith was like a top 5 QB. Seemed kind of crazy to trade him away when you got a top 5 guy. No, Mahomes even better. Anyways, Kansas City ended up winning 42-37, and Mahomes just went off. He had 6 touchdowns. He's got 10 touchdowns after 2 weeks. Sets a new NFL record. The guy's legit. Watching it, he's got a cannon of an arm, and he seems to have accuracy. There's a lot of concerns about his accuracy, but no, he's accurate. No big deal. Thursday night game, I don't know how many of you caught that one. I watched the second half of that. Cincy almost coughed it up. They were up, I believe, it was like 28-7 early on at the half, I think. Yeah, 28-7. They ended up winning 34-23. AJ Green had 3 touchdowns. Unreal day. And another matchup that I couldn't believe was Tampa Bay beating Philly. I thought for sure Tampa Bay was going to get dummied by Philly. Philly's looked kind of off for the first 2 weeks. I know they don't have Wentz, which they're getting Wentz back for week 3. That's big news for you, Drew. Because you are, you got to win this week, but your team I think needs Wentz. But yeah, Fitzmagic, he's apparently legit. I hope most of you saw that picture of him after the game. He's got mad swag. And another game I wanted to mention was just those LA Rams. They pummeled Arizona 34-0, and it was just ridiculous. Arizona looks brutal. But it's only 2 weeks in. You can't judge a team too much. A guy like DJ, he's gonna get it going. I know Larry Fitzgerald left that game with an injury. But if Sam Bradford doesn't pick it up, Josh Rosen might get a chance rather than later. Anyways, moving on to our Week 2 recap for fantasy purposes. The top players of this week. Number 1 was Big Ben, my boy Ben Roethlisberger, put up 38.98 points. He had 452 passing yards. I believe it was like 60 pass attempts. He just went insane. They were down 21-0 early on, which I was licking my lips when I saw that because they got to pass the ball. So 452, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. The guy can run sometimes, and a 2-point conversion. Number 2 was the quarterback on the other side, Patty Mahomes, 38.84 points, 326 yards, 6 passing touchdowns. Unbelievable. And 18 rushing yards. The guy actually can run. I'm surprised they didn't put up 18 rushing yards because he's got some legs. Number 3 was Kirk Cousins, 34.5 points. He had 425 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They had a big comeback late in the game. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen look absolutely lethal with Kirk Cousins passing him the ball. So look out for Minnesota offense. They are legit, and they're taking on Buffalo. I feel for Buffalo. I was listening on the radio. Buffalo takes on next week. They take on Minnesota, and then the week after that they take on Green Bay. The times just get worse and worse for these guys. But yeah, Kirk Cousins looks really good. So Bryce, you must be loving that. Also, to backtrack, Patty Mahomes, Steve, you've got him. He's sitting on your bench for 2 weeks straight. You got the win this week, so it doesn't matter. When I go through the matchups, I can't believe how many points you put up even with Patty Mahomes on your bench. Just Stupid. Number 4, Blake Bortles, 33.58 points. Now this guy, Gavin, you were high on him in the draft. He had 377 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 35 rushing yards. This guy, quietly, I believe I remember hearing he had like the 4th or 5th most rushing yards last year for a quarterback. He can run. Look out for him, but he's on the waiver wire, so he might be some nice waiver wire fodder. Number 5, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, 31.68 points, 272 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 2 rushing touchdowns. That was pretty clutch by him to get those 2 rushing touchdowns. He doesn't look like he's got a cannon of an arm, to say the least. He's kind of lobbing balls out there, and Julio didn't have a good game. But it's funny how with quarterbacks, last week, like I know so far all I've listed off is quarterbacks, top 5 all QBs. This doesn't always happen. It was a big week for quarterbacks. Typically, you see running backs in here a bit more. It was a bit of a quieter week for running backs. Anyways, number 6, Stephon Diggs, 31.4 points. He had 13 targets, 9 receptions, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looks really good this year. Just a side note, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Matt Harmon. He's a guy who does the the wide receiver reception perception on fantasy footballers. Basically, the routes that he runs and his success with his routes matches up very, very closely to Antonio Brown. So I would not be surprised if Stephon Diggs turns into a top 3 wide receiver this year. Just throwing that out there right now. Number 7, Fitzmagic. The guy is good, apparently. And Tampa Bay is good, apparently, which is insane. Looking at their division, I thought for sure they'd be at the bottom of the division after 2 games, but they are sitting at the top right now. He had 402 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Him and Deshaun Jackson keep connecting every week for like a 75-yard score. It's stupid. Number 8, Todd Gurley. Just throwing him out there. He had 30.8 points. He's just a workhorse. The LA Rams offense basically runs through Todd Gurley. He's basically Jared Goff's security blanket. Check down, give it to Gurley. No big deal. Number 9, Melvin Gordon, 27.6 points, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 receiving touchdowns. He is the workhorse for the LA Chargers. He's basically, I'd say he's Todd Gurley light. And judging by, I pulled up the Fantasy Pros rest of season rankings. They've got Melvin Gordon number 2. So, hey, Dad, if you're watching this, that's a great pick. I think you got him at number 11 or something. So that might be the steal of the draft. I was even looking at him at number 8, but I had to go Alvin Kamara. Let's be real. And then number 10 was A.J. Green of 27.4 points. He had 3 touchdowns. He absolutely torched the Baltimore Ravens defense in the first half. And then him and Andy Dalton they're like, all right, we did our work. Second half, we don't really need to do anything. Moving on to our standings. So right now in the overall standings, I know we have two divisions. We have the NFC and the AFC. Brady's Bunch is number 1 overall with a 2-0 record. They are leading the NFC. Sorry, Blake, you're leading the NFC. You have 261.24 points after 2 weeks. You have been lighting it up, especially this week. Little Sebastian, that's you, Riley. You're number 2 overall with 259 points. You're leading the AFC. And then number 3 overall would be also in the AFC, Gavin, Toronto Flatliners, with 253.84 total points. And then, unfortunately, sitting at the bottom of the league right now is you, Wally World Dave. You're off to a tough start, man, and you only have 173.04 points after 2 weeks. Tough. But you know what? As I've been saying to my buddy Winter, it's early. It's only been 2 weeks. Don't freak out. We got a lot of football to go. I think I said last video that we have 17 weeks. There's 13 fantasy football weeks before the playoffs. Just throwing that out there. But we got lots of time. 11 more weeks to go. You won't believe who will end up being available on the waiver wire as we go along. Lots of time here. Also, I wanted to just after 2 weeks, I know it's early, it's 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, I want to give you kind of like the all-star lineup after 2 weeks. I'm going to try to do this every week. So, the number 1 quarterback after 2 weeks, if you had him, which no one does, no one's had him for the first 2 weeks of the year, He's put up 73.26 points, so he's the best quarterback, best fantasy player this year. The number one running back, so this is the all-star lineup, is Alvin Kamara, my boy. Oh no, my fucking hair, it's going on again. Here we go. I'm a mess. Alvin Kamara, 53.5 points after 2 weeks. He would be the number one running back. Number two running back is Todd Gurley with 53 points. Top wide receiver, Tyreek the Freak, after his first crazy week. He was a bit quieter this week, although he got a touchdown. He's at 56.3 points, so he's the best wide receiver. Number two wide receiver is Michael Thomas with 54.9 points, and he's had 100 targets already this year, or 100 receptions. No big deal. Michael Thomas. Drew Brees has never had a number one target like this guy. He's always spread the ball around, but in this offense, it seems to be Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. That's it. And then I guess Mark Ingram when he comes back. And then number three, Deshaun Jackson. This guy's, he's back. Oh, pooch. My pooch is barking. Sorry if you can hear that. He's put up 50 points after 2 weeks, and I thought he was kind of old. But he also was concussed after the week one. But, it didn't hold him back. He's unbelievable. Tight end. Tight end's kind of a funny position in how after 2 weeks, it could be anybody. And this, after 2 weeks, is Jesse James of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I believe you have him, Blake. I think he was on your bench this week. You didn't need him, though. He's got 29.8 points after 2 weeks. And Will Dissly's number two right behind him. Will Dissly, the Seahawk, he's on the waiver wire. I think someone needs to pick him up this week. I think the guy might be legit. He's getting touchdowns every freaking week. And then in the flex spot of the All-Star team would be Melvin Gordon with 50.7 points. Yet again, Todd Gurley light. And the defense, top defense, the New York Jets. I was looking at picking them up. Someone else picked them up. I got to dig into that. So sorry, I don't know who has them, but someone has them. 35 points after 2 weeks. They're legit, even though they lost to the Dolphins this past week. And then looking at the waiver wire quickly, the top three waiver wire ads so far on Yahoo. The Cleveland Browns, number one this week. They've looked really good, man. They slowed down that New Orleans Saints offense huge. The Breeze, Kamara had a really quiet day. Michael Thomas still, I guess the receptions add up by the end of the game. But the whole offense looked off because Browns are pretty good, man. Geno Atkins. Myles Garrett. That guy, whoever hasn't seen Hard Knocks, A, you should see Hard Knocks. B, Myles Garrett is the next big thing when it comes to defensive linemen. This guy is a pass rusher extraordinaire. Really, really talented. Number two waiver wire pickup this week is Fitzmagic. If no one has him, which our league, no one has him, I think he needs to be added. I think he does. And then number three is Gio Bernard, mainly because Joe Mixon is he's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. He has oh man, I'm not even gonna try to say that word. He has knee cleaned out, and it's going to be a little bit of recovery there, but it's not as long as potentially it was going to be. So Gio Bernard's going to get a lot of work. Also, Mark Walton, remember that name. He's the third string running back for the Bengals. Okay, we're already at 13 minutes, boys, so I'm sorry this is a long one, but I love doing this. This is a lot of fun. So I'm going to dig into our matchups, and I'm going to start off with the Velvet Buzzsaws, who lost to Lil Sebastian this week. Lil Sebastian put up 139.34 points to Velvet Buzzsaws 97.64. After Thursday, it looked like the Velvet Buzzsaws were going to maybe get a nice little win here. AJ Green put up he had 3 touchdowns. AJ Green ended up with 27.4 points, so you were sitting with those 27.4 and also Alex Collins with 10.5 after Thursday, but it slowed down for you on Sunday. You didn't really get much. So sorry, Dad, you had a rough go. And you picked up Mike Wallace. I saw you drop Chris Carson for Mike Wallace. I thought you might have heard something sneaky there. He ended up leaving early with an injury, and he put up a big donut for you, so that's rough. But yeah, after 2 weeks, Riley, your team looks legit. And I believe the projections were saying that your team was legit. But looking it over here, man, Adam Thielen with 25.1 points. He was just outside the top 10 in points this week, too. He was lethal out there. He's a target machine. Saquon Barkley was held in check for most of the game, but he still put up 17.8 points because he had 14 receptions, which is insane. Eli Manning has not looked good, so he's just checking down and passing off to Saquon Barkley, which you're not going to complain about. And also, Dallas defense looked legit too, so I would expect Saquon Barkley to put up even more points in the near future because he's really good, as I hope most of you have seen. You have the LA Chargers defense, which only put up 10 points, and they're taking on the Bills. Josh Allen, he actually looks like he could help Buffalo kind of move the needle a little bit, and kind of they might get one win this year, maybe. Let's hope. Looking at your benches, Kenny G, Mr. Smooth Routes on your team, Riley, he had 17.9 points. He was sitting there. You didn't need him. Oh, breaking news also, Jay Ajayi, your flex guy, he only put up 9.2 points for you because he left with an injury, and it looks like he might not be playing in week 3, which is luckily against me. So just something to keep in mind. You might need to find a little filler there. And Dad, Dante Pettis for you. He was your kind of like your big waiver wire sneaky pick up. He only put up 4 points for you, which is unfortunate. Jimmy G has looked a little bit off for the first 2 weeks, although they almost came back and won that game. Austin Eckler sitting on your bench, 11 points. You didn't really get many bench points, Velvet, but you tried. But anyways, good week 2 matchup. Riley, you're off to a very, very hot start, and you're leading the AFC right now. On to another matchup here. We got Brady's Bunch taking down Wally World 146.36 to 97. Wally World, man, you've had the most points scored against you, but you've also put up the least amount of points. So hard to get many wins doing it that way. Also, I want to apologize, boys. I'm a little bit sick. I don't know if you can hear that in my voice. I'm sounding a little bit hoarse. For you, Wally World, you have some things that you can kind of bank on moving forward. Cam Newton put up 28.6 points. He had a great game. He was used a lot. That offense is going to be going through him and Christian McCaffrey. So you're doing well. You're moving forward. Don't give up. Cam Newton's going to help you win a couple weeks. Antonio Brown only put up 11.2 points. Apparently he's really upset right now. I don't know. There's some drama going on in Steelers camp. Just with the Steelers. We're not in camp anymore. Antonio Brown, though, he had a ton of targets. I don't know why. Like I saw him on the sidelines in that game. He was upset because he sat off for one of the touchdown drives or one of the touchdown plays. It's no big deal. Antonio Brown will put up tons of points. Don't you worry about it. Tevin Coleman, he put up 14.5 points with Devonta Freeman on the sidelines, and it sounds like Devonta Freeman might be out again next week. So that was nice. What hurt you, though, was that damn trade you made. You traded away Travis Kelce for Adrian Peterson. As I was saying to Kyle, I'm calling him creaky hips. He looks like he runs with creaky hips. I'd be a little bit worried about that. A lot of fantasy experts were saying that he was gonna mash Indy last week, and he only put up 6.5 points. Like, oh man, that's tough. I don't want to make you feel bad about that trade, but I think you could have gotten a bit more for Travis Kelce. On the other side of the ball, Blake, you crushed. You had Tom Brady only putting up 16.36 points. He's going to be your number one guy most weeks. He's taking on Jacksonville. That's a tough game. Tough. I was pretty pumped that Jacksonville got that win. Michael Thomas, the target reception machine, 24.9. Juju looked unreal, 24.6 points. He kind of became Big Ben's number one target, at least in that game, so maybe that's why Antonio Brown was upset. But overall, man, just a balanced scoring from your whole team, and you dominated. Kareem Hunt, he had some garbage time points for you. He looks unbelievable, but they haven't needed to use him, which is crazy, because Patty Mahomes is just a touchdown machine. What also I found surprising was the fact that you had Deshaun Jackson on your bench, who put up 28.9 points, and Jesse James, who put up 22.3 points. You have both on your bench, and you still put up 146.36 points. Like, that's insane. On the flip side of it, I was complimenting Cam Newton for you, Dave. You had Matty Ice on your bench who put up 31.68. So you got some QB depth. So don't be discouraged. Also, Chris Hogan, you had on your bench who put up 17.7 points. Dude, don't give up. It's early. I just have a feeling that if I had your team, I'd be feeling a bit down today. But don't give up. The waiver wire's got some guys. You might want to, make some moves. Vance McDonald, maybe you don't need him. Although he did trade away Travis Kelce, so maybe you do need a tight end. Okay, I got to stop grilling you on that. No big deal. No big deal. All right, moving on to the next matchup. Steve Finkel is Einhorn versus Shane Rogue Vile. After week 1, things were looking a little bit dim for you, Mr. Steve and Bruce. But then you traded for Lev Bell, and suddenly your team looks insanely good. You put up 155.3, a lot of high-scoring games. 155.3 points this week to Shane's 110. Deshaun Watson was the wrong starting choice for you because he put up 23.8 points, which is very good. But Patty Mahomes with 38.84 sitting on your bench there. Come on, man. You could have killed Shane even worse if you wanted. Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson, though, look legit together. Matt Breida looks legit. I have Alfred Morris, and I'm just wondering if I should just get rid of the guy because Matt Breida is the real deal there. You've got Todd Gurley, the number 1 overall pick, putting up 30.8 points. He's probably going to do that every single week. The guy he's a workhorse. And then on the other side, Shane, DeAndre Hopkins had a nice 20-point game for you. Stephon Diggs, 31.4, as I said earlier, top 3 wide receiver, man. So I tried to trade for him with you early on, and no, there's no way. You're not giving him up. Looking it over, Shane, you had a lot of guys who just underproduced. I don't know what was going on with Jamison Crowder, 4.7. Like, that's not very good. Ben Watson, tight ends, 3.4. You've got the Jets D. You're the one who's got the Jets D. Nicely done, man. They put up 9 points, which is solid, and they look like the real deal. They're looking great. Based on your benches, you had, O.J. Howard on Shane's bench, 17.1 points. He had that one, 71-yard reception. He's a big up-and-comer, and they're not using Cameron Brate. So I think you can probably lock O.J. Howard into your starting lineup every week. The guy, he looks really good. There was a lot of hype coming in last year, but then Cameron Brate stole it. He was the number 1 guy. But I think O.J. Howard... Sorry, water break, guys. Water break. Oh, you also have Jacksonville defense, who only put up 5. Wow, that's pretty bold. So you put Jackson... Okay, you had a couple of bold moves, Shane. Aaron Rodgers, you sat. I know there were, he's got that knee thing going on, but holy crap, man. You don't put Aaron Rodgers on your bench if he's playing. What are you doing? He only put up 16.04, but that's bold, man. And Jacksonville defense, they're on your bench too? You're crazy. They only put up 5 points. So you didn't miss out on much, but wow, man, you're bold. I like that. I like that. You don't listen to the pros. You don't need to. Overall, Steve, you didn't really have much bench scoring other than Mahomes, so you made all the right picks in your starting lineup, basically. And you're looking really good moving forward. Lev Bell, I haven't really heard much news about him, but he's going to play at some point this year. You got to think. So once when you start having Todd Gurley and Lev Bell rolling out there, man, that's gross. I don't like that. Okay, moving on to Total Immortal, who took down the Odell Republic this week. 109.06 to 95.34. Drew, you made that big trade. You only got Derrick Henry back in return, basically. Not a fan of that trade, but hey, you won. You won. You're 1-1. Things are looking up for you. Don't even worry about it. You never even had Lev Bell. Don't even think about it. You were basically led by... Well, oh my God, Keelan Cole. That was your big waiver wire ad. Or no, you drafted him? You drafted him. 21.1 points from Keelan Cole. He had 7 receptions, 116 yards. You guys need to check the highlights. YouTube, the Keelan Cole catch from this past week. He made an insane catch. Like OBJ levels of a catch. Really, really, really lethal. He looks like their best skilled wide receiver. Allen Robinson on Monday night was Trubisky's by far number 1 target. He had 10 receptions. I think he had upwards of 15 targets. Tyreek Hill had a quiet game with 17.5 points. He didn't really do much until a late score, but Mahomes didn't really need him because Sammy Biscuits, not Sammy Biscuits, that's Sam Bradford. Sammy Watkins looked good for, he was sitting on your bench, but he looked pretty good for KC, so that must make you feel nice. You might be able, especially with Mahomes freaking ripping that ball out there, hitting everybody, you can probably start Watkins and Hill some weeks, especially against defenses that can't take them on. But yeah, overall, looking at your lineup, Trey Burton, he had a solid game. Your bench was pretty quiet other than Sammy Watkins. On the losing side, Kyle, Russell Wilson, my Bears defense, he couldn't handle it. He got sacked like 6 or 7 times. He was just, their offensive line looks rough. So as a Russell Wilson owner, I'd be a little bit concerned about that, but he puts up points regardless. The guy can, I just heard a noise up there. I don't know what's going on up there. I don't know. Anyways, OBJ only 7.1 points. The New York Giants offense looked brutal. Demaryius Thomas 4.3. Quiet week. Quiet. Christian McCaffrey though 20.9 points. I believe he had 14 receptions. So right up there with Saquon. They are reception machines for the quarterbacks. The Crow, Isaiah Crowell, only 4.9 points. He had a huge week last week, but not much going on this week. The Miami Dolphins defense, they look good. Evan Ingram, though, 16.2. That must have made you feel good. And Tyler Lockett, 14.5 on Monday night. He needed to do a bit more for you. Actually, Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett could have really put a performance together to get you back in this one on Monday night, but they just couldn't quite get it done, especially with Allen Robinson kind of holding you back. Looking at your benches, though, I looked at Drew's. Looking at your bench, Kyle, you got Marvin Ingram sitting there. He's coming off suspension soon, 2 more weeks, and then you got another starting running back, possibly top 10, top 5 guy. DJ Moore came to life. He had 12.3 points, which isn't that much, but he had that one catch. Rookies kind of it's almost like they need to make, especially rookie wide receivers, it's like they need to make that one catch to kind of gain confidence in their quarterback. So DJ Moore moving forward, him and Cam Newton might connect a lot more. You picked up Antonio Callaway Sunday just before the games. Because with the news of Josh Gordon, which, oh my God! In other news, Josh Gordon, holy crap! The guy might be he is going to New England. You must be drooling at the idea of that. Freaking Josh Gordon in the New England offense. Oh my God, Tom Brady, Josh Gordon. Could that be like the new Randy Moss connection? Ooh, that could be nice. All right, moving on to the Toronto Flatliners, who took down Way She Goes. I'm sorry, Winter. You are having a rough go to start the year. 130.74 to 90. That's a 40-point difference. That's ouchy. Drew Brees looked decent. That Cleveland defense was really good. Only 17.62 points for Drew Brees. You're having a tough week when Bilal Powell is your number 2 points producer. He had 16.5, which is great for Bilal Powell, but you're hurting, man. Julio Jones had a rough game for you. Brandon Marshall, I thought, was a great waiver wire pickup. He had a quiet game. Jarvis Landry, I thought, was going to do a lot more, especially with Josh Gordon on the bench. Cut. TJ Yeldon was another expensive and great waiver wire pickup. 8.1 points, though. I don't know, man. You had a tough week. Zach Ertz, 14.9, and Carson Wentz is coming back in week 3. He loves hooking up with Zach Ertz. Hooking up, that sounds dirty. He loves hitting Zach Ertz for a lot of yards. So things will look up, man. Just hang in there. On the other side of the ball, Gavin, your team is looking nice. Tyrod Taylor was looking pretty bad. He ended up putting up 15.44 points, which leaves a bit to be desired, but he was sitting at 6 points for a while there. That Browns offense has not looked that good. But yet again, as I like to recommend highlights to people, you need to check out the highlights of that game. One, because of the missed field goals. It was ridiculous. Cleveland let that game slip away. They could have beaten New Orleans in New Orleans for their first win in a whole freaking 2 years. Oh man, that was painful to watch. But Tyrod Taylor hit Antonio Callaway for, I believe, his 45-yard pass. It was one of those passes where it's like a Hail Mary, lobs it up, just gets in behind the defensive back, like a fingertip catch. Like, he just got there. It's like he had like a little speed boost. He hit the turbos at the very last second to get that ball. It was unbelievable. And I think that tied the game for Cleveland until New Orleans ended up kicking a field goal later on. But that was unbelievable. So Tyrod Taylor actually could perform better, and he always has rushing yards. Jeez, I need to not get dragged into talking about one player for too long. See, I'm still working on this, guys. I know I'm rambling. We're up to 30 minutes. I enjoy doing this. Anyways, overall for you, Gavin, James Conner seemed to have a really quiet game, but he put up 17 points, mainly because of his rushing touchdown. Zeke also was kind of kept in check by the Giants defense. He only had 78 rushing yards, but he had a rushing touchdown, which put him up to 17.2 points. And then fucking Travis Kelce. I'm a little bit mad about that. Travis Kelce, 26.4 points. He had two receiving touchdowns, 109 receiving yards. Oh man, Mahomes and him looked really good. So your team, especially when you throw Travis Kelce into the mix, your team looks freaking good. Baltimore defense on Thursday night was a -1 though, and I remember you were feeling a little bit nervous after that. Because who expects Andy Dalton to go off when it's like a primetime game? I don't, and I'm a Bengals fan. Calvin Ridley, your benches didn't really put up much. There's not really much to mention here. Although I need to shed some light on Winter, your team. You've been struggling in the first 2 weeks, but you're missing Leonard Fournette, who was your number one, he was actually your second pick. You picked Julio Jones in the first round, who had a quiet game. Did I not mention that? Julio Jones had a quiet game. Yikes. But Leonard Fournette, 0 points because he's hurt right now. Hamstring issue. Hopefully he comes back week 3. If not, you got TJ Yeldon, so you got that insurance, which is nice. But it's really hard when you don't have Leonard Fournette starting for you. He's going to be getting you 15 and 20 points weekly, if not more. And then Marquise Goodwin is also on your bench because he's hurt right now, and that makes it tough, man. Two high picks for you. But you have Aaron Jones, which I was texting you about. Aaron Jones, he could come back and he could be a really, really effective running back for the Green Bay Packers. They need someone who can be a game breaker for them because Jamal Williams is boring. He's a boring running back. So if they get Aaron Jones back and he runs the ball a lot, you're looking nice. On the flip side of it, Gavin, you had a really huge win, and you got Doug Baldwin on the shelf right now. So your team's looking up. Looks like it could produce even better, which is stupid. I hate that. And Kelvin Benjamin, 2 receptions, but he had a touchdown. So there's hope there. Josh Allen, he can throw the ball. At least he's got a cannon, and he makes some good decisions. I'm not saying that Buffalo's going to have a good year because they're obviously not. They're getting dominated, but they look a lot better with Josh Allen than they did with freaking Nathan Peterman. Gross. All right, last matchup, guys. You guys can stop watching if you're not me or Bryce because that's the last matchup. I won. I got my first win of the year. I was pretty pumped about that. Super Camario Bros 119.682. The Magic School Buses 96.7. I was nervous. It was a really, really tight game, Bryce. We were tight all the way until Sunday night. And then my Bears defense on Monday night just kind of finalized it and made it look like a rout, even though it wasn't. It was a really tight matchup. For me, it was basically living off the back of Big Ben and Alvin Kamara and Chicago defense. Big Ben was unbelievable. Just airing it out. 60 pass attempts and I think 39 completions. That's stupid. But I got nervous because freaking Kirk Cousins he was matching Big Ben's huge week. So that really scared me. 34.5 for Kirk Cousins. Then Mike Evans, 17.3. He's off to a very good start. I've never been a huge Mike Evans fan, but it seems like with Fitzpatrick throwing the ball, he's lethal. For your starting lineup, though, Phillip Lindsay as well is such a piss off to me. It makes me so mad, man. He looked really good. 107 rushing yards. Unfortunately, no touchdown. I've got Royce Freeman, so this is a sticky thing for me. Phillip Lindsay, 11.6 points. Royce Freeman stole his touchdown. I love that, but man, I need Royce Freeman to do more for me. Judging by your lineup, though, I got really lucky because DJ, your boy Dustin, oh my God, David Johnson, only 5.6 points. Ooh, that hurts, man. That's the the third overall pick, fourth overall pick. Ooh, ouch. And Minnesota defense, only 3 points. Ooh, I got lucky. I think I faced you on a lucky week because you've got a good team. You've got a solid team. I know you're 0-2 right now. But your team looks decent, although LaShawn McCoy might be out next week. I think he fractured his ribs. I saw that play. That looked ouchy. Judging by our benches, the only mistake I made was John Brown, my big waiver wire ad. 17.2 points sitting on my bench, and I still got the win. I'll take that every day of the week. And you got D.D. Westbrook sitting on your bench, so you could have slotted him in over... who'd you have against? Sorry. Over Robbie Anderson, who's been... him and Darnold don't really seem to have a connection, at least not yet. And Marlon Mack, only 4.1 points. He's on your bench. He should put up more, though. He's their number one guy, at least for the time being. And I love that you got Dez Bryant, man, just sitting there. You're just waiting for the news that Dez Bryant is heading to the Browns, or that's the most likely scenario, especially with Josh Gordon gone. But you're waiting it out, man. I respect that. I respect patience. It's really tough, especially in fantasy football. Very, very tough to have patience. Anyways, guys, let's wrap this up. We're at 36 minutes because I like to ramble on. Great week 2. Yet again, we got the waiver wire tonight at 3 a.m., I believe, is when it kicks in. So make your waiver wire ads. Cleveland defense, you should look into them. I forget who they face this week. I think they face some tougher, or no, maybe not. They faced New Orleans this past week. But Cleveland defense, Fitzmagic, someone needs to add him. Come on. Someone who's hurting that quarterback, freaking add the guy. I don't like seeing him on the waiver wire putting up the points he's putting up. And then Gio Bernard, obviously, is the other guy that he's worth an ad. There's some other guys out there. As always, I don't want to mention too many because I'm sure a lot of you have your secret guys that you don't want to, to hear too much about. But yeah, let's see some fab dollars spent again. That money. Come on, Kyle. Spend that fab dollars, man. Why are you so scared? What are you doing, dude? Anyways, great week 2. I'm pumped for week 3. We got a Thursday night matchup of the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Jets. That's kind of gross. But it could be the Cleveland's first win in a long time because they're looking good and Jets looked a lot less good in week 2. I'm hoping for a Cleveland win. I'm excited for week 3. Let's get her going. Let's keep this league. Also, let's see some more trades. I want to trade with one of you guys. I need a wide receiver. Whoever has wide receivers out there, offer me a trade or let me know which wide receivers you don't like on your teams because I need a wide receiver. So someone give me a wide receiver, please. Anyways, let's get talking. Let's work the phones. Let's get something going here. Anyways, have a good one, guys.